Namaste and welcome to Times Health Plus. I am Vinita Sakpal, a senior nutritionist and yoga teacher from the Yoga Institute, here to guide you on a wonderful series of mindful nutrition for sustainable weight and energy management. Yes, so today we are going to learn more about practical knowledge about how to apply certain things into our lives so that your weight loss series will become more easy. But before that, we are being connected to each other and it's been almost 10 weeks. This is our 10th week that we are meeting together. I can see that many people who are connected to me since day one, right? And I can see that they are trying to follow all the tasks that are been given to you all, making sure that at least 10% of whatever they are learning over here they are applying in their regular life, and that's how they are seeing some results, right? So I would like to know in your comment section that how is your journey so far? Did you find any sort of change in yourself? Did you see that some sort of weight has been changed, or at least one or the two principles that you have applied into your life and you felt really better? Please let me know. Okay. uh, okay, so few people wants to know in Hindi also. I'll try my best to mix two languages because there are few people who don't know Hindi also. So let me see how I can work together on this. But don't worry, हम कोशिश करेंगे कि दो लैंग्वेज में मिक्स करके बात करने की, ठीक है? Okay, fine. So let me just tell you all one thing कि आज का जो सेशन है, इट्स मोर अबाउट अप्लाइंग सर्टन प्रैक्टिकल टूल्स, ठीक है, जिससे आपकी वेट लॉस की सीरीज सही से हो जाएगी. ओके एंड जो भी हम पहले बात करेंगे, पहले जो भी क्वेश्चंस आपको बताने हैं या पूछने हैं, आप अभी जो टॉपिक रिलेटेड है उसी से रिलेटेड क्वेश्चंस पूछिए. वट एवर इज योर पर्सनल क्वेश्चंस वो हम एंड ऑफ द सेशन लेंगे, क्योंकि देयर इज वन Q&A सेशन जहाँ पे हम सब चीजों को इंटरेक्ट करेंगे, ठीक है? फाइन, चलो. नमस्ते एवरीवन. सतीश जी से आई एम ऑल्सो न्यू एंड जॉइन दिस वीक ओनली. दैट्स नॉट एन इशू. जो जितने भी हमारी सीरीज हो गए हैं, जितने भी वीक्स हम लोग ने बात किए हैं, ऑल द डेटा हैज बीन मेंशन्ड ऑन आवर टाइम्स हेल्थ प्लस चैनल. सो जब भी आपको टाइम मिलेगा, यू कैन गो थ्रू ऑल द वीडियोस. Okay, so let's proceed ahead and see what we are going to learn today. So the one thing which we are going to learn today is about planning our meal. Okay, so when we plan our meal, why this planning is so important, that we are going to learn today. We are going to understand there are certain categories of the foods that if we make into certain sections, life becomes more easier. So हम वो सारी चीजों को आज जानेंगे. हम एक बहुत ही बढ़िया रूल है 80-20 रूल, दैट रूल यू विल अंडरस्टैंड बाय द एंड ऑफ द सेशन. सो ये सारी चीजों को हम धीरे धीरे समझते हुए आगे बढ़ते जाएंगे, ठीक है? फाइन. So first thing that we are going to understand is why planning is important. Now tell me, if you want to go or if you want to travel somewhere, हम क्या करते हैं? किसी नए शहर में जाना रहेगा या फिर किसी नए कंट्री में अगर जाना है हमें, what we do, we do to-do list, right? Where we have to go, what all things we need to visit. अगर हम बिना प्लान के चले गए, if we go without any plan, what will happen? हम क्या रहेंगे? हम confused रहेंगे, right? फिर जो भी मिलेगा, जो भी कोई कुछ बोलेगा, whosoever says you anything, you will follow that thing blindly, right? So this should not happen. That's the reason planning is important. When you plan certain things, हम organize बन जाते हैं. We make our life more simpler because everything is well organized, right? So इसलिए आज जो हम प्लानिंग के बारे में बात करने वाले हैं, हम मेन्यू प्लान के बारे में बात करेंगे, ठीक है? हाउ टू प्लान योर ओन मील्स इन सर्टन वे, जिससे आप ना ओवर ईटिंग करोगे, ना इमोशनल ईटिंग होगी, no eating on wrong timings. Everything will fall in right place if you understand how to plan your own meal. Okay, so why this is important? As I said, it reduces the decision fatigue. What does this mean? कि हम हमारी खुद के confusion को कम करेंगे अगर हमने चीजों को पहले ही plan कर दिया. Okay, secondly, we have to eat more mindfully. What do you mean by more mindfully? अगर everything is well listed, पहले से ही हमने list किया हुआ रहेगा what we have to do and what not, what we have to eat at certain time, ये पहले से ही decided रहेगा. So your focus will be completely on the meal, कि हाँ मुझे ये इस तरीके से खाना है, इस समय पे खाना है, इस proportion में खाना है. That mindfulness will come if you are already planning your meals before. Okay. Thirdly, when we plan our meals prior, हम हमारे चीजों को बैलेंस में लाते हैं. which things? Basically सारे न्यूट्रिएंट्स बैलेंस हो जाते हैं बिकॉज हम अवेयर हैं. इफ कोई लोग पहले से मेरे से जुड़ा है तो हमने कार्ब्स के बारे में बात किया, हमने प्रोटीन्स के बारे में बात किया, हमने फैट्स के बारे में बात किया, हमने बैलेंस मील के बारे में बात किया. तो व्हाट these are all the principles जो हमें अप्लाई करना है. जब आप एक बैलेंस मील खाओगे तब जाके आपको सारे न्यूट्रिएंट्स आपके बॉडी को मिलेगा. Right? That's how you will be able to balance your nutrients if you are pre-planning your menu. Okay. And thirdly and lastly, what happens when you plan everything? You are saving your time. You will not waste your time in making decisions instantly, right? Instead of during such time, instead of sitting and thinking what is there in my kitchen, what is there in my fridge, then I'll prepare certain things, ये सब करने के बजाय we will save that time because everything is pre-planned. Okay. And secondly, it also saves money and energy. How money and energy? Because if we know that certain things are there in this house and accordingly you have planned your meals, accordingly you have planned your menu, then what will happen? You know that this amount of food only I have to eat every day. This is the only pattern I have to eat every day, right? Therefore, you will not invest your time into purchasing from outside. फिर वो स्विगी ऑर्डर करना, जोमैटो करना, ये सब चीजें नहीं होगी अगर आपने पहले से ही चीजों को वेल प्लान किया रहेगा. ठीक है. सो इससे आपकी एनर्जी भी बचेगी बिकॉज सब चीजें सही से अलाइंड है. सो दैट्स द रीजन मेन्यू प्लानिंग इज वन ऑफ द इम्पोर्टेंट फैक्टर जब आप एक वेट लॉस के सीरीज में जाते हो. ठीक है. चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं. नेक्स्ट इज, ये मैं अभी आपको टूल्स देते जाऊंगी. ये सारे टूल्स अगर आपने सही से फॉलो किए, अप्लाई किए आपके लाइफ में, ऑटोमेटिकली यू विल सी अ गुड चेंज. हाउ यू विल अंडरस्टैंड इट चेंज? बिकॉज हम धीरे धीरे अवेयर होते हैं. अभी जो मैं यहाँ पे फर्स्ट टूल दे रही हूँ दैट इज फूड जर्नल. फूड जर्नलिंग जब हम करते हैं हम एक अवेयरनेस क्रिएट करते हैं. वी बिकम मोर अवेयर दैट व्हाट एग्जैक्टली यू आर ईटिंग, एट व्हाट टाइम you are eating, and when you eating it, how do you feel before that and after consuming that meal, right? इसके बाद खाने के बाद आपके एनर्जी लेवल्स कैसे हो रहे हैं? क्या आपको नींद आ रही है कि आप एनर्जेटिक फील कर रहे हो? आपका डाइजेशन कैसा है? आपको मूड कैसा है? आपको स्लगिश फील हो रहा है खाना खाने के बाद कि आप बहुत एनर्जेटिक फील कर रहे हो? एवरीथिंग, योर स्लीप, एवरीथिंग वी अंडरस्टैंड जब हम चीजों को लिखते हैं, बिकॉज तब जाके हम हर एक दिन को सही से टैली कर सकते हैं. नाउ सी, ऑफ कोर्स ये सारी चीजों को टाइम लगेगा, इट विल टेक लॉट ऑफ टाइम, बट gradually when you build up this habit, you will realize and you will become more mindful about what you are eating, when you are eating, how much you are eating. खाने के बाद पहले कैसे आपका मूड था, कैसे मूड बन गया, ये सारी चीजों को आप अंडरस्टैंड करोगे. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, सपोज अगर आपने राजमा चावल खा लिया, ठीक है, 1 बजे आपने राजमा चावल अच्छे से खा लिया, 2 बजे आपको नींद आना चालू हो गई. You feel tired, you feel lethargic, you feel drowsy, right? So this is a clue that something was wrong in that lunch, इसलिए मुझे नींद आ रही है, right? So maybe राजमा चावल में चावल बहुत ज्यादा थे कंपेयर टू राजमा, या फिर फाइबर्स मिसिंग थे, सैलड्स मिसिंग थे, तो ये बैलेंस मील नहीं था, राइट? सो जब चीजों को हम बैलेंस करेंगे, जब हम पोर्शन को कंट्रोल में रखेंगे, तब जाके हमें ये सारे जो आफ्टर इफेक्ट्स होते हैं ये सारे कम हो जाएंगे, राइट? सो these are the clues you will get when you do a food journaling. Okay, so your food journaling is basically a first step towards your awareness, towards your change. Okay, now let's see another tool. Another tool is so this is a continuation, like what exactly you see in this food journaling. We see number of things. What we see, number one is कि अगर हमने सही से नोट डाउन किया है कि मैंने इतने बजे ब्रेकफास्ट किया, इतने बजे लंच हुआ, इतने बजे डिनर हुआ, इतने बजे स्नैक्स हुआ, वट एवर इट इज, व्हेन वी अंडरस्टैंड दीज ऑल पैटर्न्स वी सी कि हाँ कहीं पे मेरा मील स्किप हो रहा है, कहीं पे बहुत लंबा गैप हो रहा है, कहीं पे बहुत नजदीक कुछ चीजें खाने में आ रही है. When this all patterns are being noticed, then we understand that our gaps are not regular. So what is important in following a diet? A right regular time interval is must. Okay. Secondly, am I eating out of hunger or boredom? This ये भी आप जान पाओगे if you do this food journaling. Okay, when you write everything you will understand that why snack period is becoming so crucial. क्यों snack period में मुझे बाहर का प्रोसेस स्नैकी आइटम्स खाने की इच्छा हो रही है? क्योंकि बहुत लंबा गैप था, या फिर आपने एक आध मील स्किप कर दिया है तो आपको बोर्डम की वजह से आप खा रहे हो, या सच्ची में आपको बहुत भूख लग गई बिकॉज लंबे लंबे गैप्स हुए इसके वजह से खा रहे हो. So, ये भी आप आइडेंटिफाई कर सकते हो व्हेन यू डू दिस फूड जर्नलिंग. ओके. थर्डली, जब आप पैटर्न्स को देखते हो आपके रूटीन के, दैट टाइम यू विल रियलाइज वेदर योर मील इज बैलेंस्ड और नॉट. यू हैव टू सी कि आपके मील में फाइबर्स है कि नहीं. फाइबर्स कहाँ से आते हैं? फाइबर्स कम्स फ्रॉम योर सैलड्स, वेजिटेबल्स, फ्रूट्स, राइट. सो ये सारे फाइबर्स प्रेजेंट है कि नहीं आपके मील में, प्रोटीन आपके मील में है कि नहीं, ये सब भी हम आइडेंटिफाई इजीली कर सकते हैं जब हम एक फूड जर्नल को रेडी रखते हैं. ठीक है. सिमिलरली वाटर इनटेक को भी हम सही से ट्रैक कर सकते हैं. वी विल इजीली अंडरस्टैंड कि हाउ मच वाटर यू आर कंज्यूमिंग इन अ day, right? So if you see that your water intake is pretty less and your urination is super dark nowadays, so what you have to do is you have to start hydrating yourself, right? So these are all clues or hints or indications that we get from this food journal. फिर आपको किसी और के अंडरस्टैंडिंग की जरूरत नहीं है, किसी और को आके आपको बताने की जरूरत नहीं कि यू डूइंग दिस रॉन्ग, you doing this is right. No, you will only understand your own thing when you make your own food journal. Okay. And lastly, what meals made me feel light, focused or bloated? ये भी हम आइडेंटिफाई कर सकते हैं. सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर आपने हैवी डिनर कर लिया और आप तुरंत सोने के लिए जाओगे तो आपको काफी हैवी ब्लोटेड फील होगा, right? So if you have gone outside and you have consumed something food, maybe a junk food or a street food, you automatically feel that your stomach is upset or maybe it's bloated, right? So when we understand this, when we are continuously writing certain things in this journal, so that important is the food journal. Okay, fine. Now this is the another tool, which is food bucket method. Okay. So food bucket method is basically we are making 3 buckets. Now we are not saying or labeling any food as it's a good food or it's a bad food, it's a junk food, it's a healthy food. No, let's not give any allegations or let's not give any stereotypical labels to any of the foods, because it's ultimately made from some raw material, which is the basic food that we grow on this planet, right? So it's important to respect each and everything, but let's categorize certain foods into 3 categories, which will make our life more easier to understand which should be consumed more in amount and किसको हमें कम amount में consume करना है या फिर किसको हमें completely avoid करना है. So ये कौन सी 3 categories है? सबसे पहली eat often category. eat often मतलब हमें हमेशा इसको ज्यादा खाना चाहिए, ज्यादा मात्रा में या फिर रोज खाना चाहिए. दैट इज कॉल्ड एज ईट ऑफ्टन. इसके अंदर कौन से आएंगे? सारे अनाज, योर होल ग्रेन्स, दाल्स, लेग्यूम्स, स्प्राउट्स, योर सीड्स, फ्रूट्स, वेजिटेबल्स, ये सारी फर्मेंटेड फूड्स, ये सारी जो चीजें हैं जो हमें रेगुलर खाने में होना इंपॉर्टेंट है, दे विल कम अंडर द कैटेगरीज ऑफ ईट ऑफ्टन. ओके. सेकेंड कैटेगरी आती है ईट समटाइम्स, मतलब कुछ ऐसी कैटेगरी है जिसको हमें कभी कभार खाना चाहिए, रोज खाने में नहीं आना चाहिए. ओके. क्यों? क्योंकि वो लोग थोड़े कैलोरीज में ज्यादा होते हैं, जिसको अगर हमने रोज कंज्यूम किया तो शायद हमारा वेट गेन होते जाएगा. ठीक है. सो कौन से कैटेगरी में ये कैटेगरी में कौन से फूड्स आते हैं? सो योर पनीर, जैगरी, होममेड स्वीट्स, घी से बनी हुई चीजें, या कैफीन, चाय, कॉफी, ये सारी चीजें इसको कभी कभार लिया तो ठीक है, बट अगर रोज आप लेते जाओगे तो आपका वेट गेन होने के चांसेस है. मोर अबाउट, इंस्टेड ऑफ वेट गेन आई वुड सजेस्ट कि इंटरनली काफी सारा लोड आ जाता है बॉडी के ऊपर, जिसके वजह से लिवर को चीजों को मेटाबोलाइज करने में काफी प्रेशर लगता है, काफी एनर्जी यूज हो जाती है, जिसकी वजह से हम कंटिन्यूअसली डल फील करेंगे, टायर्ड फील करेंगे, फटीग आ जाएगा बॉडी में. ठीक है, तो इसलिए ये सारी चीजों को आपको समटाइम्स ही कंज्यूम करना है. एंड सबसे थर्ड वाली कैटेगरी है विच इज ऑलवेज अवॉइड. ऑलवेज अवॉइड मतलब इसको कभी भी शरीर में नहीं डालना है. क्यों? क्योंकि ये सारी चीजें केमिकल से बनती है. जो भी चीजें केमिकल से बनी हुई आई है, जो भी चीजें लेफ्ट ओवर है, मार्केट में काफी लंबे समय से पड़ी हुई है, वो सारी चीजें हमारे शरीर के लिए हानिकारक है. क्योंकि हमारे शरीर को रोज नया नया ताजा फूड खाने की आदत है, उसको वो नया फूड ही चाहिए रहता है, तभी जाके हम एनर्जेटिक फील करेंगे. बट जो चीजें बासी होती है, एनीथिंग दैट इज लेफ्ट ओवर, एनीथिंग दैट इज पैकेज्ड, प्रोसेस्ड, प्रिजर्व्ड, पिकल्ड, ये सारी चीजों में एक्सेस अमाउंट ऑफ सॉल्ट, शुगर, फैट्स, ऑयल्स होते हैं. सो देयरफॉर इनको कंप्लीटली अवॉइड करना है. सो ऐसे आपको 3 कैटेगरी आपके किचन में जाके बनानी है. जो भी आपके किचन में है या फिर जो भी आपके रेगुलर कंजम्पशन में आता है, उन सभी चीजों को जस्ट कैटेगराइज इनटू दिस 3 थिंग्स. Okay, Shilpa ji say, I have thyroid and PCOD. My weight is increasing day by day. 1 or 2 kg increases in 2 days whenever I eat good food. Shilpa ji, I understand during thyroid, metabolisms becomes very slow, right? Because of that, weight gain होने के काफी chances है. Therefore, we need to work on both diet and exercise both. So it has a very long nutritional management जो आपको understand करना इस period में difficult है. But you can surely consult to a nutritionist like us or maybe any other to get a good understanding. But for now, whatever we are making you understand over here, try to apply that, because जब ये छोटी छोटी आदतें हम बदलेंगे तभी जाके आपको वेट में या फिर आपके कंप्लीट ओवरऑल मेटाबॉलिज्म में डिफरेंस फील होगा. ओके, नेक्स्ट सतीश जी इज सेइंग, आई टेक ब्लैक कॉफी इन प्लेस ऑफ मिल्क टी 3 times a day. Can you advise some other alternative which can be consumed at home or office? You can have herbal teas. They are non-caffeinated. They are Indian, made from Indian herbs and spices, जो हमारे Indian culture के काफी पुराने wisdom से आए हुए हैं. So make your herbal teas and consume that if you have habit of drinking something constantly while working. Okay, because this caffeine will not only hinder your appetite, आपका appetite कम नहीं करेगा, बल्कि उसके साथ साथ आपको काफी लंबे समय के लिए awake रखेगा, energetic रखेगा, and then it will make you tired by the end of the day. Okay, and even if it will affect your sleep cycle. So it's better, coffee should be consumed once in a while or like occasionally or sometimes, not regularly. Okay, how to avoid bloating? Subramani ji, we will talk about this by the end of the session in Q&A session. Okay, fine. Let's proceed ahead with the next thing. Okay, now as I was talking about this 3 bucket method, how this is going to work in terms of, you know, balancing your wrong timing intake. So this method basically reduces the guilt and it simplifies our choices. Why? Because everything, if we are categorizing, सभी चीज को अगर हम categorize कर रहे हैं, हम दिमाग से, माइंड से एकदम क्लियर है कि हमें कौन सी चीज पे ऊपर ज्यादा ध्यान रखना है एंड किसको हमें ज्यादा कंज्यूम करना है. सो जिसके वजह से गिल्ट भी कम होगा, बिकॉज जो कंप्लीटली अवॉइड सेक्शन है या फिर जो ईट समटाइम्स वाला सेक्शन है, वहां से अगर आप कुछ खाओगे तो आपको ऐसा फील होगा कि इट्स ओके, वंस इन अ वाइल मैंने खा लिया तो इट्स एब्सोल्युटली फाइन. सो देयर वोंट बी एनी गिल्ट दैट विल बी कमिंग अगेन एंड अगेन. ओके, एंड सेकेंडली, you don't have to be perfect, you just have to be consistent with these all methods. तभी जाके अवेयरनेस क्रिएट होगी, एक फ्रीक्वेंसी क्रिएट होगा और आप उस डर में से बाहर आ जाओगे कि अगर मैंने ये खा लिया तो क्या हो गया, अगर मैंने ये खा लिया तो मेरे बॉडी पे क्या इफेक्ट होगा. लेट्स नॉट बी इनटू दैट फियर. लेट्स मेक आवर लाइफ very simple by categorizing certain foods. Okay, fine. Namaste UPG, glad you have joined this session. Since it's your first day, you will get to know a lot of things. By the end of the session, you will surely get an understanding that what things, small things we need to change in our daily routine. Okay, fine. Okay, next is about, now you have to make your kitchen into your alley, into a something that will support you, that will guide you, that will be your friend. So your kitchen should be your friend. Okay, what does this mean now? So in a kitchen, you should stock more of eat often foods. Okay, what are the eat often foods? Who can answer in comment section? What are the eat often foods? Okay, Madanji says, but coffee has antioxidants, so can we consume at least once in a day in the morning? Yes, you can have it, Mohanji, no problem. Once in a day is fine, without sugar is fine, without milk is also very good. Keep it black coffee only. Okay, how to increase weight? You have to eat healthy food items every 2 hourly, and you have to be stress free. Give rest to your body, you will surely start gaining weight. Okay. I have bloated, how to know why it happening and how to avoid. Renoji, there's a long list to understand your routine and give you the proper understanding, but I can give you small gist that bloating can be because either you are not well hydrated, either you are eating too much at one time, either there is longer gaps between your meal. If you're skipping any of the meal, then also your body will be bloated. Check if too much of sugar or sodium is going into your diet, even that is the cause for the bloating. Okay, and poor exercise, lack of exercise is also one of the factor for bloating. Okay, how to manage leftovers? First of all, cook pretty less so that there is no leftovers, and secondly, even if there is something that has leftover, preferably give to, I would suggest, if there is something that is going to stay back that day itself or that night itself, give to animals or street dogs, so that at least they'll be feeded with the food instead of putting it into the next day. Okay, preferably try to make food portion size less only, so that there won't be any kind of leftovers. Okay. Dheeraj says fruits, vegetable, pulses, seeds, fermented. Absolutely. These are all your eat often foods, right? All your whole grains, your rice, wheat, ragi, bajra, jawar, millets, everything comes off into eat often food. So what you have to do is you have to stock that food more into your kitchen compared to avoid completely foods. Okay? If you put something into your kitchen which is healthy, you will automatically, your hand will go towards the healthy options only, right? So stock the eat often foods. Secondly, label your shelves. What you have to say, if something that is staple means जिसको हमें continuously consume करना है, जिसको हमें रोज consume करना है, उन चीजों के ऊपर लिख के रखो कि this is eat often foods, या फिर ये staples है. स्नैक्स वाले डब्बे के यहाँ पे लिख के रखो कि this is snacks डब्बा, और spices के यहाँ पे लिख के रखो this is spices डब्बा. So when you write these all labeling, when you do, your eyes, your mind will directly go towards that thing only. It will not keep on hindering around here and there, right? And thirdly, keep your fruits and vegetable very handy, very ready, so that whenever you are hungry, whenever you feel something I need quickly to consume, these things are ready into your kitchen. Okay. Next, batch cook or prepare once or twice a week. Now this doesn't mean that you have to batch prepare a meal and keep inside of refrigeration. This means that if you think that your working lifestyle is super busy, बहुत hectic है आपका schedule, so आपको छोटी छोटी चीजों को प्री प्रेप करके रखना है. जैसे कि नेक्स्ट डे जो भी आपको बनाना है, वन नाइट प्रायर चॉपिंग ऑल योर वेजिटेबल्स, कीपिंग इन एयर टाइट कंटेनर एंड फ्रिज में रख दिया, या फिर आपने पहले ही सेग्रीगेट कर दिया कि these are the ingredients which I'll require tomorrow, so I'll remove and keep on my kitchen table. So this is how preparing certain things prior. Okay. And lastly, avoid stocking tempting processed foods. When you will not bring wrong foods at your home, automatically you will not have that, right? But it's important that इतना भी हमें खुद को restrict नहीं करना है that we end up one day having all the junk foods in a whole in a big amount, right? That should not happen. So इसलिए, for example, if in fridge अगर आपने चॉकलेट रखा है, अगर आपने कुछ फेवरेट आइटम रखी है, मेक श्योर कि आप उसको ऐसे जगह पे रखिए जब जब भी क्रेविंग आएगी तभी आप उसको हाथ लगाओगे, ठीक है? सो इंस्टेड ऑफ स्टॉकिंग सर्टन थिंग्स विच आर अनहेल्दी, bring only when you get this cravings, okay, or make it at home only when you get the craving. So this is how we can make our choices better and will control our eating patterns, okay? Now, this is one of the very nice and important rule, I would say, which is 80-20 rule. Now, this 80-20 rule is something usually you can apply into your life when you are consuming your meals regularly, and when you have to go for certain celebrations, certain occasions, or festivals, or you're traveling somewhere. So that time this rule becomes a very good part of your routine. Okay, fine. So one is saying, Ravindra ji is saying, can I take chia seeds daily? Yes, you can take it daily. 1 teaspoon per day is absolutely safe to consume. Preferably it should be well soaked. Shri Satyaji says chia seeds and flax seeds portion daily kitna hona chahiye? 1 teaspoon per day is more than enough, or 1 tablespoon is also more than enough. Okay. Arnav ji say, my first session, I am pre-diabetic and feeling hungry very often, even after eating my meals. So, Arnav ji, I understand that during pre-diabetic stage, बहुत खाने की इच्छा होती है. You will feel too much, that cravings will keep on coming. But what you have to check in your meal is whether your meal is well balanced or not. So if you go to our previous, PPTs which have been put on the Times Health Plus channel, there you will see one section जहाँ पे मैंने बात की about balanced meal. So what a balanced meal means, it should have a right proportion of carbohydrate, proteins and fibers into your each meal, right from your breakfast, lunch, dinner. When you balance your meals and you have in between a small mini meals, but they should be healthy, like a fruits, makhana, puff rice, murmura, these all things. If you have this on right timing, with good intervals and with right proportion, then automatically this cravings will not come. You will not feel like having too much of unnecessary items during the day. Okay. So along with that, drinking water sufficiently is also important, because sometimes when we are dehydrated, even that signals to our body that we are feeling low in energy, and therefore we end up having some food to get that energy. So try to consume water at least 2 to 3 liters per day, so that you are well hydrated and your hunger pangs are in control. Okay, fine. Satish ji says, what is the best time to consume seeds, fasting or post meal? There's no specific time that need to be mentioned for the seeds. You can have it any time of the day. Preferably depends on the type of the seeds also. If it's the chia seeds, I would suggest take it before your meals, half an hour or 1 hour before your meal. And if it's other types of seeds, you can make like a mukhwas and have it after your lunch. Or if you want to start a day with some nuts and seeds, you can do that also. Okay, fine. Ravindra ji says, can I eat dark chocolate? I'm a pure pre-diabetic. Oh, yes, you can have dark chocolate, but only 1 inch small piece. While eating that small piece, you have to relish yourself, so that, and eat it so gradually, so that your mind will capture that you have satisfied your craving, and that craving will not happen again. Okay, and preferably just don't consume dark chocolate all the time. Keep more options, like a healthy sweet alternatives. Some days dates, some day raisins, some day anjeer. So these are good healthy alternatives to have during your sugar cravings. Okay, okay. Leo ji say, please suggest how to eat dry fruits as a system. As a system, I didn't get you exactly, Leo ji, but I would suggest, if you want to consume dry fruits or dry nuts, it's important to soak and consume it. जब तक हम चीज़ों को soak नहीं करते सही से, उसमें से सारी toxins निकल नहीं जाते, उसको अच्छे से वॉश करके ही आपको कंज्यूम करने हैं, सो दैट इट बिकम्स मोर डाइजेस्टेबल फॉर योर बॉडी, बिकॉज नाउअडेज सभी चीज़ों को काफ़ी प्रोसेस किया जाता है, everything is so processed, so chemically treated, therefore it's important that you soak it pretty well so that it becomes digestible for our gut. Okay, fine. Let's come back to the 80-20 rule. In this 80-20 rule, what you have to do, maximum time of your month, like that is 80% of your month, you should consume whole food, eat whole food, unprocessed food, nature related or nature closest food, organic foods, home cooked meals, 80% of your month. And 20% of a month, keep a space for your celebrations, your treats, your flexibility, your any kind of occasions. Then you will be able to balance your diet pretty well, and you will become more sustainable in changing your lifestyle. Okay, if you eat, if you restrict yourself so much, and if you consume only what has been mentioned with all that efforts, and one day when you get a craving, you will burst out eating something wrong in such a way that it will hamper your body. So that kind of diet is something not helpful. So this 80-20 rule is quite a easy rule, or one of the best rule you can apply during certain scenarios when you can treat yourself this 20%. So for example, in a week, if 6 days you are following the diet pretty well, having everything home cooked meals, then on Sunday, if you feel like treating yourself, that if you want that cheat day, you can do that cheat day, you can treat yourself with something that crave you, and you can have that without any guilt. So this is how we bring a balance into our life. Okay, so this will build your sustainable lifestyle, and of course it will not be a short term goal, it will be always a long term goal. Okay, fine. So what we learned today, we learn about planning meals that doesn't require perfection. Of course it will take a lot of time to understand your own routine and plan your meals. But ideally, as I said, categorize certain foods, put it in your journal, whatever you're consuming on regular basis, understand the clues, and become aware. So when you are aware, you will choose certain foods rightly, in right time, in right manner. Okay, secondly, it means eating with awareness, balance, and joy. See, you have to enjoy this process. It should not feel make you feel that you are on a restriction, or it is a certain thing that is making you feel more stressful. No, a diet should be such that makes you enjoy the process. You can see the progress, you can see that you are being more aware about the food, and accordingly you bring the balance. Okay, and lastly, your plate is your power, because from plate, your meal plate only, you will learn lot of things. You will try to plus minus certain things, and you will enjoy the process. Okay, fine. So this was about today's session. So as a newcomers, whosoever have joined us, let me tell you, every session we give one task which you have to do in that particular week, to understand that whatever we have learned, are you able to apply it or not. And when you apply it for longer time, you will start getting certain results, whether you want to gain weight or whether you want to lose your weight. Okay, so what you have to do this week, you have to use 80-20 rule. Okay, include your favorite comfort food in this 80-20 rule. Okay, and share your plan, or take a picture of your plate, and you can share with us on our Instagram handle, Times Health Plus. You have to tag us as @Times Health Plus, and if you get chance, you will also win some wellness goodies. Okay, so this task are not just for a fun thing. Of course it's another fun thing that you have to apply in your regular lifestyle, but it will give you more understanding about whatever we have learned, are we able to apply it or not. Okay, fine. And don't forget to follow us on our social media platform, because from there you will get to know more about us, about certain different topics. Okay, and so stay tuned. Every week we are going to meet. Every week there will be new topic that I'm going to talk related to mindful nutrition, that will help in your weight management. Okay, let's get to the Q&A session. Okay, so questions like Ravindraji says, almonds can be eaten with skin or without. I would suggest if you are soaking it pretty well and you wash it very nicely, you can have it with the peel. But if anybody's gut is compromised, you can remove the peel and consume it, no problem. Okay, Tanaya ji says, please can you suggest if non-vegetarian intake is advisable? Okay, so ideally in our yoga institute, we talk about sattvic meals a lot. Why? Because vegetarian foods or the foods which are closest to the natures give you a certain type of energy or prana to your body that will make you more energetic, that will make you more confident, more concentrated and focus at your work, right? You will become more calm, composed, and you'll be able to take decisions rightly when you're alert, right? So this happens when you have certain foods which are very closest to the nature. Now secondly, when we talk about non-veg food items, they are little tamasic in nature. What do you mean by tamasic? When you consume these meals, they are very heavy for our gut to digest that food, right? Now you yourself can think and compare. When we eat dal chawal and when we eat biryani, non-veg biryani, how do we feel? We feel very heavy when we consume some non-veg items, right? Why? Because body takes a little longer time to digest that food, and when more energy and or more time has been taken to digest that food, we become tired, lethargic, and we become less focused, we become drowsy, right? Yawnings are coming when we eat anything that is non-veg. So I am not saying that if you are a non-vegetarian since your childhood, you should leave the non-veg right there. But I would suggest keep it in a balance, and then gradually you can reduce its frequency and focus more on vegetarian source. Okay, I understand non-veg source is one of the good source for the proteins and B12 and D also. So a person who is consuming it since childhood will become difficult for that person to leave certain things immediately. But nevertheless, we do have alternatives for everything. So if you become that aware, you will make sure that if I am not consuming non-veg, I have certain replacements. Okay, so everything need to be gradually changed. Okay, Chaitanya ji says, okay, Ravindra ji says, can I add? Okay, the question has gone up, I cannot see. Shatish ji says, can you advise a food journal for weight reduction? I am taking 90% home cooked food. Okay, so even if you're consuming 90% home cooked food, it's important to understand that whether you are trying to bring balance of all the nutrients or not. Most of our if of us Indians, we forget to add proteins into our breakfast. Someday there is a protein into our breakfast, someday we are not eating it. Someday we are skipping our breakfast. If there is no consistency in eating proteins, fibers regularly into your diet, you will not see good change into your weight or maybe your health conditions. Okay, so it's important that every meal should be eaten with that awareness that it has carbs, proteins, and fibers sufficiently into your diet. Okay, and if I'm talking about carbs, I'm talking about complex carbs and not the simpler carbs. Complex carbs are all one which have high fiber into it. For example, ragi, jawar, bajra, millets, dalia, oats, these are quinoa, these are all high in fiber. So keep that more comparatively than uh, rice and wheat. I'm not saying you should minus rice and wheat. You should keep that into your diet because it's a staple thing in our life. But try to club it with good amount of vegetables so that there will be a good balance in blood sugar levels. Okay. Ravindra ji says seeds can be eaten raw or baked. You can slightly roast it and you can have it, because when you roast it, you are activating its bioactive component, which will get readily absorbed by the body. So slightly roasting is important. Okay, Arnavji says, can we have tea with more milk and twice a day? Not at all. First of all, if you want to consume tea, tea powder with milk combination is something called as viruddha ahar. It creates more of toxins in our body, which leads to gas, bloating, acidity later. So once a day, I would suggest it's fine, but twice a day becomes overdose. Okay. Okay. Chaitanya ji says, ma'am, I am new to this session, pre-diabetic and having grade 2 fatty liver. How to avoid frequent sugar cravings? Long list to go, dear Chaitanya, because it's not a simple health case. If you have pre-diabetic, if you are grade 2 fatty liver, you have to focus more on minusing complete processed foods, right from maida, right from the oils that you're consuming. You need to change it into cold press oils. Make sure ghee consumption is less, oil consumption is less. Make sure there is no butter, cheese, no maida related products, nothing bakery items, nothing that is coming from outside in your kitchen. Everything you have to avoid, so that you'll be able to manage your fatty liver. Once you manage your fatty liver, even the diabetes will get in control. Okay. Ravindra ji says, what do we need to eat before doing yoga in the morning, say at 6:30 a.m.? So, for example, if you are doing this yoga practice early in the morning, first thing you should consume is the lukewarm water. Okay. Take a simple lukewarm water. Along with that, you can have overnight soaked nuts, but that not nuts should be handful, not more than that. And keep slightly 15-20 minutes gap, and then you can start your yoga practice. Because before yoga practice, ideally your stomach should be empty. So preferably these are the lightest thing that you can consume before your practice. Okay, Shailaja ji says, I have to avoid K vitamins because of anticoagulants. So, how to include leafy vegetables? Since you need to avoid K vitamins, instead of adding leafy vegetable, you can find the alternatives of the leafy vegetable. You can have other vegetables which are suitable for your body, and the iron or calcium that we get from the leafy vegetable can be taken from the other sources. So preferably try to avoid leafy vegetables. Okay, next is Radha Krishnan. Even though I walk 5 kilometers 7 days a week, aged 70, daily average calorie is 1500, weight remains at 90 to 95. Okay. I would suggest just to walk will surely boost your metabolism. It will make your appetite better, but moving your muscles or training your muscles is also equally important. Along with that, a diet should be 80% followed pretty well. As I said, right carbs, protein, fat should be there. Fibers should be sufficient into your diet. Make sure nothing processed you are consuming in a day. Make sure that you are eating your meals at right time with the right intervals. Exercise routine should be such where you are twisting your your stomach area so that visceral fat will go down, using up your thigh muscles, making your hamstring better by doing certain physical activity, or going for a zumba class or whichever physical activity you feel it's good along with the walk. That will help you a lot. Okay. Fine. Pravalika ji says, what is the best way to eat raw flaxseed, soaked or directly consumed? Dried amla to maximum. Dried amla to maximize the benefits of them for hair growth and skin health early in the morning. So, Pravalika ji, if you want to have flax seeds, as I said, slightly roasting is important, and you can have it in any form, whether you put a powdered form into a salad or into your rotis, or have it as a mukwas, absolutely fine. Dried amla, you can have it for your skin and hair, absolutely fine, but fresh amla would be much, much better than the dried version. Next is Pattabi ji. I'm so sorry. What is acid reflux in esophagus? How to avoid it? Okay, so this means that you are having extra amount of acid production in your body. Make sure your tea, coffee are less in your body. Make sure that you are not having fruits on empty stomach, specifically the citrus ones. Anything that is sour, try to avoid that into your diet. Anything which is super spicy, try to reduce that, because when there is reflux, somehow your sphincter has become little weak, and therefore the stomach acids are coming up. So after eating, do not lie down immediately. Do a post meal walk for good 20 minutes after lunch, after dinner. And when you go back to lie down, make sure you are lying with a 45-degree angle or sideways. Okay, so this will help you hydrate yourself pretty well, so that your body will become alkaline. Do not consume more of grains. Keep grains into your diet, but the amount of fiber should be more, like vegetable or fruit should be more compared to your grains, so that your acidity levels will be in control. Okay, fine. Rahul ji says, how much protein or protein rich food I should consume per day? Could you suggest some protein rich foods? Okay, so Rahul ji, in terms of proteins, there are varieties of protein. Starts with your dals, your sprouts, your legumes, your paneer, soy, tofu, milk, curd, buttermilk. These are all good sources, and some amount is also present in nuts and seeds. Some amount, not much, but yes, even in that it's present. And whole grain also have some amount of protein. So yes, you can have that. And how much protein require for you, I need to know your height, weight, your ideal body weight, so accordingly I can suggest you. Okay. um, can you suggest something in place of milk tea which are at least closest to the tea? Green tea did not go with me. Yeah, so there are herbal teas I could suggest. With milk you can make the herbal tea. You just have to boil the milk, add all the herbs like lemongrass, mint leaves, tulsi leaves, ginger. If you want cinnamon, clove, add everything into it, boil it very nicely, and you will get the good color which is closest to the chai, and you will get that feel that you're consuming the chai only. Okay, apart from that, there are different herbal teas also, like chamomile, jasmine, kahwa tea, and blue pea tea. These are all fancy teas, yes, but whenever you feel like treating yourself with something different, you can have those teas also. This will reduce your tea cravings. Okay. Next is how much hydration you require per day. Rabindraji, a person, actually the hydration level depends upon the weight of the body also. But approximately, I would suggest a female should go consume, adult female should consume approximately 2 liters to 2.2 liters water every day, and male should be consuming approximately 2.5 to 3 liters per day. Now this will increase depending upon the season also. For example, in summers the amount will go more higher because we sweat a lot, and a person who is athlete or doing certain physical exercise more, that person should also hydrate little more in amount. So depend upon the physical activity also. Okay. Okay, Ramanji, thank you so much. Thank you everyone. I think very good session we had today. Any more questions you have? Let me just let you know that next session what we are going to learn, we are going to understand about food and mood connection. Okay, so what does this food mood connection mean? So we all have a tendency, like when we are emotionally sad, when we become lethargic, when we become emotionally or angry or something like that, we end up having wrong foods, right? So during that time, what this mistakes that we tend to do by choosing wrong items, how to control that, how to support your hormonal health with the meals, how to eat to stabilize your moods and energy. These all things you will get to know in the next session. So everyone who has joined today, make sure you come to the next session also, so that you will get more understanding about how to control your mood swings, how to control your emotional eating. Okay, and that's how it will be one of the good session for you to attend next week, and we'll meet shortly next week. Yes, so what I can see in comments, where can I get the previous video? Of course, on the Times Health Plus page dashboard, you will get all the data. uh, you can always surf over there. And secondly, okay, Ravindraji says it was an excellent session. Thank you so much. Glad that everyone could able to relate certain things, and I was able to solve everyone's queries. Okay, Ravindraji says my ideal weight is 56, your male. So Ravindraji, just if you want to know your water intake, 56 into okay, so if it's your ideal weight is 56, what's your current weight? That is also important. If you want to know your water intake, current weight ko multiply by 35 to understand your water level. And if your weight is ideal weight is 56, you should approximately take 60 grams of protein every day. Okay. Okay, Gupta ji says, where can I get the previous video? As I said before, what is the alternative way who is not having vitamin D since long time? Alternative way is, of course, you have to supplement yourself if you don't have non-veg items, and if you want to rely on veg source, mushrooms are the one of the good source for vitamin D. Apart from that, of course, in veg source you will not find much vitamin D, but soaking yourself into sunlight for at least 10 to 15 minutes in early morning sunlight is one of the best thing that you can take vitamin D in your body. Okay. Okay, so thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Any doubts you have? We have more 5 minutes we can talk about. Any questions? I hope today's session, the task which I have given to you all, you'll be able to apply that task in this week, because we are going to meet soon, that is Saturday, with the next topic. So before that, I want you to do this 80-20 rule and come up to the next session where we will discuss about our task. Okay, so it will be great that you, whatever the important insight you have got from this today's session, you just give it us into writing, so that we'll also understand that certain things were highlight of the day. Okay, Ravindraji says, can I add lemon to black coffee? This is usually added when you are when you are having diarrhea. Otherwise, it's not required to add. Okay. Can I take milk at night? Okay, Gupta ji, it is basically depends individual based. Milk in nature, it's very heavy to digest. It is pitta prakruti, right? So when you consume heavy thing at night time, your digestion process extends in your sleep cycle, which disturbs your sleep cycle. So preferably, if you want to take milk, make sure there is sufficient 2 hours gap between your milk and your sleep cycle, then it's absolutely fine. But if that is not going to happen, then I would suggest take that milk in the evening time, around 4 5 o'clock. Okay. Fine. Sateshji says, what should we take before morning gym or exercise? Okay, so if you want to go for like vigorous exercise, maybe a gym or some strength training sort of, where a lot of cardio or something is going to happen, then you can have a banana before your workout session, or maybe a oatmeal or chia pudding or something like that, or smoothie, because a carb source is important to have before exercise, because carbs releases glucose in our body instantly, and this glucose is used up while doing your exercise, so you will not feel lethargic or tired after doing certain exercise. So for that reason, having carbs before, at least half an hour to 45 minutes before your workout session, is important. Okay, but if it's a yoga asana that you're gonna do, then preferably eat very light, for example nuts. Okay, people add little bit of ghee to black hot coffee. Do you recommend it? I preferably, my personal experience, I never recommend such kind of trendy things, because firstly, we don't have a good research on this thing that this is actually benefit for the body or not. Secondly, caffeine and fat. It's important, or it is something that we say that first thing in the morning you should have something like healthy fat, and therefore people want to club that healthy fat with the coffee for their own convenience. Okay, but instead of doing that, I would suggest healthy fats you can consume from simple ghee water also in the morning, or maybe dry fruits or dry nuts. Okay, so these are healthy fats which you can have first thing in the morning, instead of making this bullet coffee, or that ghee coffee with ghee. Okay. uh 5'3" height, weight 54. I have hormonal imbalance which causes acne, pimple, hair loss, dandruff, etc. Which diet I have to follow? I would suggest you to please come to us, because this is a extended list to give you understanding that what you should eat and what not, because in our consultation we basically understand your lifestyle, which is right from your childhood till now. If there is any kind of health concern you are having, if there is any kind of family history that is related to hormonal health, if how is your mood, how is your mental health, how is you balancing your stress, your sleep cycle, everything need to be understood to give you that diet plan, right? So if we don't understand you as a human, then how I can recommend you in this short period of time, right? But for now I would only say you one thing, that please avoid anything that is junk, anything that is made from maida, anything that is made from gluten, because when there is this hormonal imbalance, these are all the triggers to increase your inflammation inside your body. Even dairy product is something nowadays they are not safe. So preferably if there is hormonal imbalance, stay away from gluten, milk. Paneer and curd is fine, but milk specifically, and hydrate yourself pretty well. Nothing should be consumed in plastic containers, because if heated thing is added into plastic, if kept in a plastic container, then extra amount of chemicals are going inside our body, that is also causing hormonal imbalance. So there is long list to understand, but for now at least follow these things. Okay. Ravindraji says ideal weight of 56 aged male. I just lost your question, Ravindraji. Why you had sent me this ideal weight? So can you just reframe the question again? Okay, Guptaji says consuming ghee with warm water in the morning, empty stomach is beneficial. Absolutely, anybody who is constipated, anybody who has gut issues, and who wants to have a good bowel movement in the morning, can have ghee water in the morning. Okay. Now, for example, a person who is having lot of high cholesterol and lipid issues, then for them little amount of ghee can be added into water and can be consumed. Okay. This is how we can manage. Okay, so I think today's session we had a great Q&A session. I think everyone's doubt has been cleared pretty well. Whatever more queries are remaining, we can of course take it in the next session also. I'll be there with you, stay connected with you every week. So we are going to meet again to have a brief discussion about each and everything. Okay. How best to take chia seeds? Soaked in a 1 glass of water. You can mix and have it. You can add chia seeds into some smoothies, some puddings. That is also one of the good way. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. I am glad that you have joined today and you have got this insight. Hoping that you apply all the today's given task in a right manner and see good results and get back to me with all your feedbacks. For now, eat with awareness and take care. Namaste.